Today we're going to look at Lesson 8.5, Fractions of Fractions, which really what you'll see in a moment, this is really about multiplying fractions. And we're going to talk about why we can get to multiplying fractions by using the word of. That's one thing we have talked about in the past. You guys need to remember, whenever you see the word of, you need to think multiply. Anytime you see that in any kind of word problem or story problem or anything like that, if you see the word of, you need to think multiply. So what we're talking about here today is fractions of fractions, which is really just multiplying fractions. Now, for those of you who really wanted, way back when we did addition of fractions, if this was an addition problem, let's say this looked like 1/2 plus 3/4. If you wanted to just take 1 plus 3 and get 4, and take 2 plus 4 and get 6, and that was your fraction, and I told you can't do that because you have to have common denominators when you add fractions. Well, now you get your revenge here, because when we multiply, you do not need to worry about common denominators here. So the nice thing is you just multiply across. You take your numerators and multiply them, and then you take your denominators and multiply them, and you get your answer. So here we go. 1 times 3, which you should know is 3, and 2 times 4, which you should know is 8. So 1/2 times 3/4 equals 3/8. Multiplication of fractions is really that simple. Now, it can get a little tricky, especially if we're going to throw a whole number at you. For example, if I were to say 3/4 of 2, and again, when you think of, you think multiply, so you need to look at this as 3/4 times 2, and you might think, well, I can't do that because this isn't a fraction. But what we remember, or should remember, is that any number can be turned into a fraction if we just put that number over 1. So x as a fraction would be x over 1, and what that means is 4 is the same as 4 over 1, 20 is the same as 20 over 1. Any number could be expressed as a fraction as itself over 1. So 3/4 times 2, we can change that to be 3/4 times 2 over 1, and now we just multiply. 3 times 2, that equals 6. 4 times 1, that equals 4. Now, right there, we have an answer, 6/4. I don't know if that's the best answer, because 6/4 is an improper fraction, so we really should reduce that one down. And a couple ways you could do that would be to actually do the division, see how many 4s go into 6, and what you should realize is you have one of those, and then you have 2/4 left over, and if you want to reduce it even further, that would be 1 and 1/2. Now, if we look back, this is our algorithm. This is our simple little algorithm. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, and you get your answer. So, let me give you an example. Come up with, let's see, 2/5 multiplied by 3/4. What I want you to do is take a moment, pause the video, and solve that, and then come back and I'll show you what the answer is. Okay. You should have multiplied your numerators. 2 times 3, that gets you 6. Multiply your denominators, 5 times 4, that gets you 20. Right there you have 6/20. That's okay. You can reduce it down, though, and you can get down to 3/10, and that would be your answer.